Okay, so I guess I'll get started since everyone is here. So welcome to the second session for development for Dragonfly, the Dragonfly platform. So my name is Eric Yen, and I obtained my PhD in computational. Wait, it's not. Okay, so I got my PhD in computational biology in 2016. And I've been working at ORS now for 2 years. And my primary roles has been to develop different plugins and to oversee the transition from Windows to Linux for our software. We'll be launching our Linux version, like it's currently in beta. So you can download that for Intel CPUs machine. And that's it. This 2-day workshop will be divided into 4 parts. One will be an introduction to basic Python programming. So if you've never programmed and you've never done Python programming, this should be okay. This should be a good refresher, or not refresher, either a good introduction. And then parts 2, 3, and 4, it's these are just guidelines. Since we're a small group, I want to focus more on the topics that you guys are interested in. So, for example, yesterday I think Rosha asked me if it's possible to move the legends in our software to have it such that they are synchronized in all displays. So if you have like specific features that you want to see, that you want developed, or like how you would want to do it, let me know later, and I will focus more on those topics. But if there's not much, if there's if you guys don't have specific plugins or features you want to implement, then these are the topics I will cover. Sounds good?
Yes.
Okay. So why do we choose Python for programming? It's because it's easy to learn and easy to read. Like anyone who can understand English can read through it and kind of understand what's going on. It's not very complex, and it forces you to write in a very specific style. So it's always easy to read. It's also very powerful. There are many packages. If you just go on Google or Baidu and search for how do I do this in Python, often you'll find someone who has an answer already for you. And it's also highly used in the scientific community. And it's also used a lot in machine learning and artificial intelligence. A lot of popular frameworks for deep learning, such as TensorFlow, Keras, the scikit-learn, they're all based in Python code. Okay, so this, I was intending it to be more of a hands-on workshop. So if you can install PyCharm, you should be able to find it on your USB stick. So because currently Dragonfly is only for Windows, I only have put on your USB keys the Windows version of PyCharm. So if you look on your USB stick, you can go to Development, Software, and you have either a free version, which is called a Community Edition, or you have the professional version. There's some differences between the two, but I think for today you can try either or. But at ORS we use the professional edition because it has certain features that we really like about it that you guys may not need for this today. Okay, so can you guys please install PyCharm if you haven't already? Okay, so I will just continue for now, and I'll come back to you. Okay, so so the next step is to set up PyCharm to run within our environment. Because when we normally start Dragonfly, we have different environmental variables we set up so that it will launch correctly. So we wrote a special script so that you guys can use to start PyCharm, and when you start Dragonfly, everything will work properly. So if you open File Explorer and you go to where you install Dragonfly, so on this computer, it's on the C drive, in Program Files, Dragonfly. Everyone is in this folder. Okay. Here, there's a set evars for Python IDE. You can copy this, copy, and you can then paste it onto your desktop. And then you can rename this, rename to start PyCharm. And since I already have it here, I'm just gonna call it PyCharm 2, just for demonstration. Okay, and then you can right-click and edit. Okay. So here you can see the environment variables that we have set up that we normally use to start Dragonfly. But now what we want to do is to use it to start PyCharm. So to do that, you can go to where you installed PyCharm. So you can go to the C drive. On my computer, I think it's in Program Files, and then JetBrains. Here, there's PyCharm, and then this will depend on the version that you have. And I think everyone has the 2018.1, something like that. But just look for PyCharm, and then you go into the bin folder, and you can just copy this path. So you click on the address bar, select everything, and then copy. And you can come back here and you can, and you can paste it here. And then type backslash, and then it's just PyCharm 64.exe. Okay, and then you need to put these put quotes around, like this double quote. So one at the end and one at the beginning. Okay. So this is Windows specific, so I'm not sure what it is for Mac. But for Mac and Linux, there's similar steps to this. So then you can if you have PyCharm already opened, you need to close it first. And then once it's closed, you can reopen it with this special. Oh no, okay, there's a mistake. Oh, I misspelled PyCharm. PyCharm. And okay, there's another problem. Oh, it's because I already have PyCharm opened. Yeah, that's why. Yeah. So you just, if you already have it open, just close it, and then start PyCharm. So when you load for the first time, this is probably not what you see. Maybe it asks you to load a project. So the project I will ask you to open is already on your computer. So when it asks you to load a project, you go to the C drive, and then you go to users, and you go to your current user. So my username is called Dragonfly. Okay, and then you go to, okay, before you press this button up here, the last one, this will show you hidden folders. So press that to show hidden folders. And then there's app data, local, and ORS. Okay, so the current version is Dragonfly 35. So you open this folder, and for Python user extensions, this is the project folder you want to open. So select it and then press OK. Okay, so everyone is set up now with PyCharm. So I'll cancel. The next thing you need to do is go back to Windows Explorer. Go to where you install Dragonfly. And see, where do I install Dragonfly? Over here. And we have a separate script. It's called register DLLs. So for this one, okay, for this one you can execute it, but you need to be administrator to run it. So you just right click, and in English it's run as administrator, or you can look for this icon also, and then run as administrator. You might be asked for a password for another user. So yeah, so that's it. Everyone, okay. Did you know? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Are you running a virtual machine? Yeah, so I cannot. Yeah. But yeah, I try something else. Okay. All right. No problem. No problem. Oh, only once. Yeah, once per computer. Yeah. And if and if you forget, all of these steps you can find online. We have like a developer documentation website. It's dev.theobjects.com, and when it will bring you to the latest version, like the current version of the documentation. And if you forget, in the getting started section, there's one for setup for development with PyCharm. And we also have video tutorials on how to set it up if you forget as well. And additionally, I forgot to mention earlier, but if you want to have access to the slides, you can go to this link, and you should have access to the slides. Okay.
Is it a permanent link or is?
It's permanent link. So if I go to this link, bit.ly 2G, well, I guess capital G, capital K, capital I, small n, capital N, and then capital T. If I go to this link, you can find the slides for this session. Okay. And then you can save it for, you can download for next time, or if I make updates, you can download it and see what's new.
Can they, as distributor, can they reuse it for their own demo?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I can make this one bigger. Size 20. That's big. Yeah. Oh wait, why do you need permission? Share.
It's not shared for example.
Okay, on. Okay. Maybe refresh that. Oh yes. Okay. Yeah. So you guys can save this, or remember the link. Save it somewhere. Okay. Okay. And everyone okay so far? Yeah. So the last thing is just to make sure that and so the last thing we need to do is to make sure that PyCharm is using the correct version of Python. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is to check that PyCharm is using the correct version of Python. So you go to File, and then you click on Settings. Okay. And then in Project, you click on the project Python user extensions, and you click on Project Interpreter. And here for the for Python, please make sure that it's the Python inside Dragonfly. So it should be on my machine. It's C program files, Dragonfly, Anaconda 3 Python. Does everyone see that? If not, then you can change it in the settings. If you select and you don't see this Dragonfly, then you can go into settings and add local. So does anyone here does not see this one in the project interpreter? Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to change from Dragonfly 3.5 to 6.
Yeah.
I'll use 6.
Yeah. Okay. So then you can press OK. And so to start Dragonfly, you have to add a new start file. So here I've already set it up on this machine, but for you, you click on this little drop down and then edit configurations. Okay. So here you can click on the plus to add a new configuration and choose Python. Yep.
Probably we can have a break and we both help him to set up everything. Okay. Then we can start together.
Okay. Okay, so you guys can take a 5 minutes and we'll help.
And team has made some notes, so you will also get that from him.
Okay.
So, but you better be there.
Yeah. There's something I want to show you. Okay. Okay, so does everyone have their Dragonfly opened? Okay. So in Dragonfly, you have access to a Python console. Oh, yeah. So, so this is the Python console that you get inside Dragonfly. So anything you would normally do in Python, you can do it from here. So for example, to print a string, you can do print hello world and press enter, and it prints a string. You can do like simple math, like 1 + 1, and it gives you the answer 2. So this is the basic Python console, and So it's in Tools, Python console. Okay. So, and if you make a mistake when you type, it will give you some errors. So if I do this, it will give you errors, and you can learn. It will tell you what is wrong. So here, this is not defined, but we'll get into this later. Who here has never programmed before? No, any language. Everyone has done some programming before. Yeah. Okay. So if everyone has done some programming, maybe I'll go through this section a bit faster. So in Python, let's see if I go to my slides. In okay, yes, there's this slide I wanted to talk about. Let's see, present. So I wanted to cover some basic Python programming. So we've already done this. We've set up PyCharm. Not completely. There's one more step to do, but I'll come back to this in a few moments. And then I want to introduce to you the Python command line, how to store and what are the variables in Python and the basic types. What is a function? What is a class? And how to debug with PyCharm, importing modules, and an introduction to the Python interface. So this is my plan for this morning. Okay. So for the live demo, I guess I've already started a bit. So in Python, there's a few basic types. So you have numbers. There are two types. You have integers that are whole numbers, like 1, 2, 3. And you also have floating point numbers, which are numbers with decimals, so like 1.981 or 2.134. In programming, you also have what are called strings, which are just letters and numbers, just like different characters. So in programming, words that you want to express are called strings. So for example, and in Python, you represent them in between either double quotes or single quotes. So earlier in the Python console, the hello world, this is a string. So you can type that and it will print it again. Or you can use single quotes, and this is also a string. And in Python, there's a special type of string, and it uses 3 quotes. And so this is a special string. And this string is, this string means to take the string as is. So in the string, I guess, how do I enter? Yeah, so for this special string, if you press Control Enter, you can do multi-line strings like line 1, Control Enter again to do a new line, line 2, and then you can close it with 3 quotes. And in Python, it will automatically add you the special characters, this \n that is needed for like to represent a new line. So if you have any special formatting like this, a multi-line string, this is what Python uses. And Python uses this also for documentation. Yeah, primarily for documentation. This string with 3 quotes are used. Everyone okay so far? Okay. In PyCharm, there's also, sorry, not PyCharm. In Python, lists are represented by these square brackets. So for example, this is a list with 4 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can go in the Python console and create a list. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is my list. The list can be a combination of any types. There's no type specification in Python. So I can have a list of 1 and the letter A and a floating point number like 2.58. And this is also a valid list. In Python, to assign you can assign these these objects to a variable, and in Python, variable assignment is with the equal sign. So you can give your variable a name. So my variable, and then assignment is this equal sign, and when I press enter, there's no output. But now I can access my list with my variable. Okay. So this is a standard array in other languages. So to access, if I want to get the first item in my list, I just type the name of my variable and then open a bracket and then the index. So in Python, indexing starts at 0. So my first variable is 0. So my first item in my list is index 0, and this will get my first object, which is 1. And if I access my second object, if I want to access my second object, it's with a 1, and this will print me A. And the second one, sorry, this is a bit confusing, but yeah, the third object, you can get it with the index 2, and this is 2.58. And if I try to access the fourth one, I get an list index out of range, because I only have 3 items, and I'm asking for something that's out of range. Okay, maybe if it's too small, I can make this bigger. Sorry, I didn't think about this earlier. Yeah, I can't scroll up more. Okay, everyone okay so far with list creation and accessing it? Okay. Okay, so the next type is dictionaries. So with lists, I access it with these numbers, like with the index, like 1, 2. I can scroll. Yeah, I can access it with these indexes. So if I go back up, here I have 3 items, and so this is the 0th one, the first one, and the second one. Dictionaries are similar, but the difference is instead of using 0, 1, and 2, you can use names. I will create a new variable called my dictionary. And there are 2 ways to create a dictionary in Python. You can type DICT, and then open brackets. And this is the short form. This is the long way of doing a dictionary. The short way is to just use the curly brackets. So I'll leave like this. So these two are equivalent, and most of the time you will see this one instead. So for my dictionary, so if you want to insert, you use the square brackets and you give it a key. So for example, you can call it my key and assign it anything. So let's say my value. So now when I look at my dictionary, I have one item where I can access it with my key, and the result should be my value. So if I type my dictionary and my key, I should get back my value. So this is how dictionaries work in Python. Everyone okay and understands? Okay. So it's a different type of list that is very useful in programming. Yeah.
So the key for the dictionary is always a string.
In Python, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be a string necessarily. So if I want to add something, so if I want to add the number 1, I can do that and then assign it another object. So now if I look at my dictionary, so now I have 2 items. One is where the key is a string, and the second one is a number. So in Python, there's no, the key can be anything. So if you have another object, you can use that as a key. Yeah. Okay. And oops. Okay, the last one, in Python there's a special keyword that's called none. Maybe right now maybe this is not a good time to introduce this, but none just means nothing. And sometimes you might need this, but I'll come back to this after. And in yeah, so the last one I want to talk about is the operators. Okay. Okay. Every time I move my mouse, it shows up again. So in Python, you have like some basic operators, like if you want to add 2 numbers together, it's the plus. If you want to subtract, it's minus. To multiply, divide, and then these 3. These 2 will come back, and then this one, the double star, is for exponential. So for okay, so sorry. So the operators. So if I want to add 2 numbers, I can add. If I want to multiply like 2 times 3, it gives me 6. If I want to do division, if I say, for example, 5 divided by 2, this is 2.5. And then subtraction, so like 7 minus 4, that's 3. And exponential, it's, for example, 2 to the power of 3 is 8. Okay, so this is for numbers, but these operators can also work on other objects. So for example, earlier I created a variable called my variable. This is a list. I can also add two lists together. So if I do my variable plus my variable, I now have a list that's 2 times. I should be able to multiply my list. So I can multiply it and it will give me 2 times as much, or I can do times 5 and it will do the same thing. So if you want to add 2 strings together, you can do it too. Say my name is, and I can add together another string. So my name is Eric, for example. So so there's lots of objects in Python that you can add together, subtract, and generally it will do what you want it to do. Everyone okay with the operators? Yeah, and the last two is for incrementing and decrementing numbers. So if I have a number is equal to 1, so if I want to increase it, what I can do, if I want to increase it by 1, I can do plus equal 1, and now number is equal to 2. So I can do number plus equal 1 again, and what this will do is take the current number and just add 1 to it. And similarly, you can do subtraction, number, and so now number is so it started off at 1, now this is 2, this is 3, and I decrement it, so now this is 2 now. Does that make sense for everyone? Okay, and you can always do the same thing for multiplication. So 2 times 4 should be 8. Okay, and so for everyone who's done like C++ programming, sometimes you see this, but in Python this is not available. This is not valid syntax. So just keep that in mind. It's in Python, it's always number plus equal something. Okay. Yeah, so this is basic Python. And I will just go ahead and load some data. It can be anything that you've opened in the past day or two. So I'm just going to open the Walnut dataset. I guess if, okay, finish. Okay, everyone has something loaded. I'll give you guys a moment to load. You can go to the